Corner, spun free, Whalen, side of the cage, cuts in, shot! Deflected wide, kept alive, and now more pushing and shoving, and now Damon Rycroft comes in, and he starts swinging, and Brennan comes in and smokes Damon Rycroft. Now Brennan gets tangled up with Thurston. And that's just a cheap shot by Kip Brennan. What a meathead play by Kip Brennan, who comes in and just smokes Damon Rycroft with a sucker punch. That guy should be suspended for that sort of a cheap shot. That takes absolutely zero guts to come in and cheap shot somebody like that.
I'd have to agree 100%, Kevin. There's no place for that in hockey, especially when a guy's down, can't defend himself. He just comes right in there, and all of a sudden you think he's the toughest guy on the ice.
Now Brennan now is going to be escorted by the linesman. And now he's barking at Greg Pankowitz as he exits the ice, and Pankowitz starts screaming at him. I'll tell you what, it's probably a good thing for Kip Brennan that Greg Pankowitz isn't still wearing skates and a jersey. Now we look at the replay as Langdon and Rycroft were going at it in the net after Langdon took out the netminder Jones, and Brennan comes in and just sucker punches him from behind. And I hope the league's watching. That's a dirty, dirty, cheap shot and a cowardly play by Kip Brennan, who's a legitimate heavyweight. And I'll tell you what, if you're a legit heavyweight, which he is, you don't need to go in and do those sorts of things. You should be able to square up, pull a guy off, and say, hey, let's go. Instead, he flies in and cheap shots him. And at the same time, and I hope the league is also seeing this, Rycroft is being held by the linesman, and he comes in and punches him as he's in the linesman's grasp. Kip Brennan should be suspended for at least a game, if not well beyond that. Dirty, dirty, cheap, cowardly play there by Kip Brennan.
And if you watch in a replay here, Kevin, there's nothing coming of that scrimmage. They're tied up, the referee's in there, and he just comes out of nowhere and absolutely unleashes a haymaker.
So Sullivan on that last fight, as we catch things up, received a 10-minute misconduct as he had 2 minutes for instigating. Kuchelak got 5 for fighting and 2 for boarding. And I'll tell you what, you don't get things like that in check, and you don't send a message by sending a guy like Brennan off. This is going to turn into a bloodbath in the next 2 periods. Mark my words.
I can guarantee you that. There's a lot of